Hey guys, welcome back, and today I wanted to show you how to make the holy grail of keto, which is keto bread. Yes, it is the holy grail because you really want to have good bread throughout your keto plan, a keto diet journey, and you don't want to miss on it. So you barely get them out in stores, and it's good if you learn how to make it at home and a nice recipe to get it straight. Okay, so and by the way, for all American folks, today it's 4th of July, so happy 4th, and thank you everyone who have given us the privilege of this freedom. Thank you all the hardworking soldiers and freedom fighters who have struggled for the independence of America. So happy Independence Day, America. All right, so let's start with the dish. There are two things in this bread. One is a liquid concoction that I'm going to show, and then a dry ingredients mix. So I'll start with the liquid first because I want to set it down to cool down for some time. It takes 10-15 times for minutes for the bread, the liquid ingredients to settle down. So let me go ahead with it. One would be gelatin. No, yeast. I'll start with the yeast thing, prepping the yeast liquid. This is 3 tablespoons of water, warm water. It could be a little more than warm, not hot though, because you want the yeast to build. So what I want in it is I'm putting 1 teaspoon of sugar. You can use any sugar. I'm using monk fruit sweetener that I had in this, and then you can I want to add yeast. So here directly I'm using a different type of yeast this time. So it's 1 tablespoon, and then 2 tablespoons, and a little bit more, like 2 1/4. Okay, so there it goes, and stir it well. So I want to stir this. Okay, so here it is, and I want to leave it like this for about maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, until this whole thing is ready. Okay, so if there are any lumps, try to squish them and remove the lumps and make this a nice paste over here. It should be foamy. I think I need a little more water, more than 3 teaspoons. So what I would do is add some more water. Where's water? Okay, here. So I'm going to add a little more of water, maybe another 2 tablespoons. And okay, so I'm checking the temperature, it's still warm. Else add a little bit of hot water here so it stays warm. And yes, you're going to add water later, so I'm going to reduce a little bit of water quantity to make up for this one. So here it is. It's well dissolved, and if you leave it for some time, it will become a little bit foamy, so I'm setting it aside. Next is 1 butter stick, whole butter stick, salted, and I've already melted it here, so melt it and put it at room temperature. So what I want to do is take this bowl, add the butter, and alright, and then you want to add some egg whites. So I'm directly adding everything at one go before I do this. Okay, egg whites. So in goes 1 whole cup of egg whites, and you can do fresh eggs, but this one I found more useful. So that, and then I'm using another one third cup of egg whites. Okay, so hey, both of them in here. And then the idea is to add the let me do one more thing that I got to set this aside, and I need to do gelatin mix. So for gelatin I need like hot water, and that's why I had it here. So I want 2 tablespoons of hot water. So I already heated the water. This is one and a half, another half. Okay, so about two tablespoons of hot water in here, and then add gelatin. I want this wiped dry. So okay, all right. So I'm using gelatin instead of xanthan gum. If you want to use xanthan gum, you can use as well. Gelatin gives me a good fluid texture, so that's why I'm using it. So here it is, one, and a little bit, say 1 teaspoon more of gelatin. So there you go. And then you want to mix this well. Use the same spoon, and the water is hot, so you have to quickly mix this thoroughly and let it sit there for another 5-10 minutes till you get all the dry ingredients ready. Right? So hey guys, so now that the liquid ingredients are settling, I wanted to start with the dry ingredients. So let's do it quickly right away. Here is the almond flour. I'm going to use 3 cups of almond flour. That's 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so 3 cups of this. Set it aside. Then I need to use 1/3 or 3/4 of a cup. So this is half a cup of coconut flour, and take a measure, full measure, 1, and then since it's 3/4, half, and then 1/4 cup of coconut flour. So coconut flour makes things very dry, but it is used for binding it together, giving it a grainy look. So I don't want to put too much of it. So 3/4 is good. And then let's go with other ingredients. It's 1 teaspoon of salt. Use any salt you like. And then baking, I'm using I'm using 2 teaspoons of baking. So here's 1 and here's 2, and then I want to use baking soda, so I will use another about 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, so there you go. Then I want psyllium husk. It's actually to give a nice texture to it. So this is Mct powder. So yeah, I thought I would use about 1 teaspoon, a heapful of Mct powder. It's actually good fat. So 1.5 tablespoons of Mct powder. And where is psyllium husk? And this is psyllium husk. Normally if you use, okay, this is it's a quarter cup of psyllium husk that I'm using, and it's used to give it a grainy bread kind of look. 2 tablespoons or quarter, both are fine. So I'm using quarter to give it a nice texture, bread like look. So here all my dry ingredients are there. If you don't want to use gelatin, then you can add xanthan gum, about a teaspoon of it in this. So let's get this whisking together. Okay, so now this has been mixed well, and next I want to get the liquids together, all of them. So here's the egg and egg mixture with butter, melted butter. So now it's getting colder because of the egg whites being cold, so it's kind of getting curdled, and I can't put it back in the oven or anywhere to get settled. So make sure that you add things quickly while they are hot, so that things mix well. So here it is, gelatin. It's also sitting for quite some time, so it's kind of getting hardened, but it's okay. You can add this, and if I can get a spoon. Okay, so get this all in here, and this is your yeast. It's instant yeast, so you see it's getting foamy here, which is good. It's warm. I'm glad that it's warm, and I hope it melts all the gelatin and everything good together. Okay, so get it all mixed well in this, and then you add vinegar, about 2 tablespoons of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, 1, 2. Okay, so actually I would add a teaspoon more. All right, so there you go. You are done with this. Now you have to quickly pour everything into this before it thickens. So create a space here and start pouring. So this one kind of mixes well. At the same time, it will soak up all the liquid. So even though it seems more, it's good. Just keep adding and mixing it. Okay, the rest of it. Add all the butter in here and mix it well. Okay, so you see how it soaked up all of that liquid, and yet it's a little bit dry. So what we do is add to this about 3/4 cup of water. I had to add 1 cup of water, but I'm taking 3/4 because I added a little more in the yeast when I was mixing, because it wasn't warm enough and I had to get it at the right temperature. So the temperature is very important for this, and also I added a little bit to the gelatin in the end because it got stuck. So another 2 tablespoons of water I added to it and stirred it and mixed it in this. So here goes about 3/4 cup of water here. Okay, boiling water. So you see the steam that's coming out, you gotta have this as boiling as possible. So add all of that, and then it will give you the perfect consistency for the bread. Okay, so let's whisk this well until it gets nice and tight. Okay, okay, so now you see how this consistency is. It is not too tight, it's not liquid, it has a little bit of what do you call, bread like gaps in between. It's all because of all those ingredients that we added. It's not sticking together. It's gonna be nice and crusty, so hope this is good. So once you mix everything well, it should look like this. Okay, so it's not too liquidy and it's the right dough consistency. That's it, and it's sticking together too because of the gelatin. So now, and the key is to get the gelatin in the right liquid temperature, so in case it gets tightened up or solidified, then you add little more boiling water and try to mix it well and add it in a liquid form in there. Okay, and also the melted butter, make sure that it stays liquid, and your egg white should be in room temperature. Mine was right out of the fridge, so it was cold, and that's the reason why things got mixed up. Sorry, the butter got like solidified when I let it sit for 10 minutes. However, if that thing happens, it's okay. Don't put it back in the fridge, or don't put it back in the oven or anything to heat up, because egg whites will then get cooked and you don't want that. So what you would do is, when you add the boiling water, when you mix everything, and then finally when you add the boiling water, it won't cook the eggs. It's mixed well with it, and the boiling water will get the butter fat evenly distributed in the dough. So here's my pan. I have lightly greased it. Grease it lightly. Use a parchment paper and set it at the bottom. And what you want to do is um, okay, and then you can scoop the stuff into the dish. Okay, so here, oops, put it like this and scoop it all in one go. So you see now it's even on all sides, and that's about it. It's a little bit wiggly, but it is not too liquid. It's the right consistency. What you want to do now is heat up your oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit and put this in with a cover on it so that it doesn't become too brown. What I do is I use an aluminum foil to tighten it, or I use a silicone pizza rack to cover on top of it. So whatever you can, you do that. Because this is a big bun, it's going to rise a lot. What I would do is leave it open for some time, leave it closed for some time, and then keep checking in half an hour and see how it rises. And once it is rising, you may want to remove or keep the aluminum foil very loose on it so it rises up at the same time. It doesn't become too brown. Okay, you get the idea. You can leave it if you want it white. You don't mind the brown color, you can leave it on without any cover also, any lid also. So 350 degrees for 1 hour 30 minutes. So keep checking at 1 hour 10, 1 hour 15. You can put it at 1 hour 20, 25 minutes, or you can bring it till 30 minutes, 1 hour 30 minutes. So set your timer straight, 350 degrees Fahrenheit and not more. Keep checking in between. So now my bread is ready, but before that, I actually used instant yeast, so I kind of put it in the oven straight up. But this time I just want to see how it rises, so I will leave it covered for about couple hours and then go and put it in the oven. But then in that case, as I said, you can put it in the oven immediately. Do not wait for it to rise, but I want to try differently this time. So I want to let it sit for a couple hours. But if you do that, then when you put it in the oven after 1 hour, do check. Do check to see that your bread is done. You can use a toothpick check. Put a toothpick in it and then see if it comes out clean, then or a fork check, whatever. Your bread is done. And slowly keep checking another 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you don't need to keep the whole 130 minutes. But then again, so hey guys, here it is. Looks really cool, and that's the ta-da, right? So it's been sitting for long, so it's quite cold. I want to cut it and get to the taste fest. Okay, so here we go. Exactly a couple. Nice. And it's not the regular bread, so you wouldn't find it rising much. I actually baked 2 loaves of it. So this is how it looks. Okay, you find it a little more moist, but then every time you want to make a sandwich or something, you have to again put it in the toaster or put it on the pan, slightly brown it on both sides, and then make a sandwich out of it and eat. And right now I want to taste it and see how it is. It looks good. You can see the texture inside. I don't know how, a little bit like this, lightning. So it's very good almond meal bread that you can have. It definitely tastes good. It has a nice brown texture also. You can feel the flavors. So what you can do, since it's nicely cool, I would cut it in slices and pack it and put it inside my refrigerator. So hey guys, go ahead and make this bread
It's perfect keto bread for you. I hope you'll enjoy it. Okay, take care.